Okay, guys, I'm going to be doing a video here, and it's another presentation. Sorry it took so long for me to do another presentation, but I'm going to be doing a question and answer series, hopefully. Uh, what I am planning to do for this uh, what, is to get questions and answers from people that I have argued with over the phone, like in comments in certain videos and stuff like that. I have debates in videos, and I just comment on videos just to go against what the person in the video says, whether they say that the world is millions of years old or something about evolution. And I will say that that is not true. And there's a lot of people that will actually, well, when I say a lot of people, I mean like a few people that will actually uh, reply to that and keep on replying, and that is where arguments start. And I just argue with them, and I think it's pretty cool and interesting on what I can actually do to people. When I say what I can actually do to people, I say how I argue and all that. You can tell that some people get mad because they start swearing. Now, I didn't exactly take all the photos of every single debate I have, but I'm planning on getting into more debates and doing more question and answers. To first of all show you how silly the evolution theory is and how these evolutionists keep saying that they're right. Now, like I said, this is a Christian channel. If you do not believe in God, hopefully you get saved. You stop believing in evolution and that you become a Christian. If you are a Christian, this is to strengthen your faith, and that's basically the motivation of this channel. That is the motivation of this channel, actually. But I want you guys to, if you guys liked the video, or if you guys want to see more videos, I want you guys to subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video. I don't have that much subscribers, and I don't get that much likes, so I'm not gonna put a like rating on it right now. But yeah, just sub and turn on notifications, and comment down below if you want to see more of these. And further ado, let's get on to the next slide. Now, this is an argument that happened a long time ago. Now, the question that this guy had wasn't towards me, but I've replied to someone in the replies, and I got this, notifications, this reply, because I replied to somebody in this as well, and he said he was talking to someone, Oracle. You do know that micro and macro evolution are the same thing. Maybe you should actually research evolution. I seen this and I'm like, this guy has to be stupid. Okay, if he clearly does not know his own religion, he just said that they're the same thing. So I'm wondering what the heck he is. So I reply, and this is my gigantic reply here. Hopefully this is anyways. I just took a whole bunch of photos, not exactly in order, but this answers the question. No, there's not micro. When I say no, there's not, I'm replying to they're not the same. Microevolution is scientific. It is scientific and seen. Microevolution is variations within the kinds. Other words, cats give birth to cats. They might be different cats, like it could be a hairless cat or some type of adaptation. Totally different than macroevolution. You guys think that they're the same, but I've done my research. Whoa, I got real bad spelling. If you guys didn't notice before up here, I said forgive my spelling. The reason why I say that is because I've made a lot of spelling mistakes because I've been heated, and that's a thing. When I start typing fast and all that, like if you look at my presentations, you'll see that I mess up. It's because when I do presentations, usually it's small presentations. Now, sometimes I do long presentations, but those long presentations take a while to get situated, and all that is I'm busy. So, but yeah, with further ado, I've done my research. Yeah, so we're down all the way down here. I've done my research, and the information I get is from scientists, or from science teachers and scientist people that have studied evolution and their lies. Like Kent Hovind, Kent Ham, Ray Comfort. Now, Ray Comfort, I'm not sure was a scientist or a science teacher, but I know a few scientists that do actually study this and actually are scientists. Ken Hovind was a science teacher, and he has a degree in biology. Kent Ham, he has studied this for a very long time. He teach creation. Like I said, scientist people. I mean, there's multiple people like that. 44% of scientists believe in God. Now, there are some people that do believe in God but also believe that God made evolution, which I do not agree with that at all. But anyways, moving on. Like I said, I got my research from science teachers and scientist people that have studied evolution and their lies. Like Ken Hovind, Ken Ham, Ray Comfort, and that other guy that I do not know the name of. When I said that there was this other guy, he has a Christian channel, and I do not know exactly his name. So this, like I said, this was an argument, so I didn't look anything up. This is all coming from my head. So really, I didn't have the guy's name written down, so I didn't really know. But Ray Comfort, yeah, and the guy that, yeah. So we're here, but we're at the but. I have studied multiple sites and talked to some of them. So I have talked to Kent Hovind before. This is true. I have talked to Kent Hovind. So yeah. So I saw. I can't talk today. I talked to somebody. I bet someone. Yeah. And I have studied this. I have studied this for some time. And I gather more information, and I keep gathering information. But moving on. Yeah, okay, so multiple sites, and talk to some of them. When I talked to some of them, I was talking about the people that are scientists and science teachers. I tell you this so you know that you are wrong. And I have done my research. Macroevolution is not scientific. It has been seen. It has not been seen, okay? It has not been seen. Macroevolution is change of kind to kind, or different species turning into totally different species. When I say that, I mean an ape turn into a cow. Okay? That doesn't happen. Or the amoeba turn into a mouse. That doesn't happen either. We have not observed that. That is not scientific. It is unscientific. So therefore, it's not science. Macroevolution is not science or Darwinism. Macroevolution is Darwinism. I've talked to this guy, and this guy said that macroevolution is Darwinism. It is not. I did not display all of the argument on this. So, like I said, I want to actually make multiple presentations and multiple videos on question and answers, and I'm going to try to finish out this argument, because this argument is actually pretty long. I did not take all the photos of all my question and answers. There's still I didn't take care of, but I'm gonna be working on what I got. So moving on, like I said, macroevolution is not seen. It is not scientific. It has not been observed. It has not been demonstrated. They are unsuccessfully able to turn something that of one kind, like a cat, into a dog. It is impossible. Now, sometimes they can mess with their DNA and make a weird cat, but they cannot make a dog. It's always going to be a cat, okay? It's always going to be a cat. They might be able to make a cat that glows, but it's still going to be a cat, okay? But, like I said, macroevolution is not scientific. Macroevolution is religious and is not seen in science. It is impossible to happen. That is the answer to his question. Later on down the road, he says, Christian News and Facts channel. Nice spelling. Firstly, nice spelling. Secondly, no, you did not research at all. Let me explain what the difference between microevolution are single small changes. Macroevolution is a group of changes. Or to give an analogy, let's say you have a robot. It works fine, but not perfect. So you make small changes on your robot every day. Hold on a second here. This guy is saying you make changes on your robot. Does that mean some type of intelligence is changing the robot? So what this guy is saying is an outside force is changing the robot that has intelligence. This is not evolution. This guy is basically talking about a creator. He has a robot, and the robot is good, but it's not perfect. So what he's doing is he's taking parts out of it. It works, but fine, but not perfect, like the guy said. So you make small changes on the robot every day. Sometimes bad changes, so you remove them. Sometimes, sometimes good changes, so you keep them. Most time neutral, so you keep them. Well, first of all, yes, it's going to make it better. But that robot's still going to be a robot. That is not macroevolution. That robot will not turn into a cow, okay? The robot will always be a robot. And not only that, that robot, it's not changing all by itself. That does not prove evolution at all. Okay? You're saying that somebody has to change it. So what you're saying is that God has to change the DNA. But we know that God has made DNA to adapt, which is microevolution. Microevolution is basically adaptation. It is not evolution, per se. Now, it's adaptation. It's not Darwinism. Darwinism is macro, not micro. There's a difference, a giant difference. So, he says that it changes, but it doesn't. The robot will always be a robot. It might be a better robot, but it will never be other than that robot. Now, over time, now that this guy's saying now over time, this robot will be completely different. No, it won't. It'll still be a robot. It's still going to be made out of metal. And it might be a different metal. It might be a stronger metal, but it's still going to be a robot, okay? Microevolution is an example of changes in one day. Macroevolution is change over years. It is like that. Then he says down here, Christian News and Facts channel, also please define kind. Kind. I will define kind to you. Canine. Canine is a kind. Dogs, wolves, coyotes, dingoes, those are all species of canines. Foxes, that is a species of canine. Canine is the kind. The species is the dog, the wolf, the coyote, the fox. That is the species. Here's my answering. Here's my answers to these questions. I don't know if I answered. Oh, yeah, I did. But, anyways. Yes. And yes and no. I am still right because micro is small changes, but it's still not the same as macroevolution. Macroevolution is, for an example, an ape turning into a human. Microevolution is a cat turning into a hairless cat or other changes. When I say other change, I mean other basic changes. Like maybe a really bushy hair cat or no hair cat, or a cat with really sharp teeth, or cats with dull teeth. Cats that eat bugs, cats that eat lions, cats that run faster, cats that are able to hibernate for a very long time, cats that have good tree climbing skills, cats that have bad tree climbing skills, cats that, it's all those changes. Cats that are bigger, smaller. That is microevolution. That is an adaptation. That is changes within the kinds. It's still going to be a cat. It might be a giant cat, a little cat, a long cat, a skinny cat, a cat with sharp claws, a cat with dull claws, a cat with gigantic claws, a cat with small claws, a cat with big teeth, a cat with sharp teeth, a cat with hair, a cat with no hair, a cat with really bushy hair, a cat with tail, a cat without a tail. That is microevolution. It happens with all kinds, but it happens within the kinds, not outside of the kinds. So I'm still right. He did not prove me wrong one bit. So, yeah, there's other changes. You are right, but macro and micro aren't the same. The reason why I say you are right is because the robot will be different, but the robot will still be a robot. None of that is, I did do my research. I did say that. I do not know if I have it in this. Those guy really made me mad. He kept harassing me. And he's like, you did this, and you did that, and you don't know what the heck you're talking about. He started yelling at me, saying I don't know how to do my research. He's like, oh, you're an idiot, And there was one guy, he called me a stupid piece of crap. But he used the S word. Now, I'm going to not say it because I'm a Christian and I don't like saying that often. I don't really like saying it at all, but sometimes it happens. But, macro and micro aren't the same thing. Still different because, still different. Excuse my spelling. P.S. You don't know the studying I have done. You cannot say, I forgot the Y in that I didn't research anything. That is unscientific. Haha, funny. I threw a funny in there. Oh. See, I answered his questions down here. Micro does not necessarily happen that fast. In other words, microevolution doesn't happen that fast. Microevolution can happen in many ways. It could happen over a series of couple years, over a few weeks. But it doesn't just happen, okay? It doesn't happen that fast. But macroevolution is not real at all. Macroevolution is not real. Down here, a kind is a type of animal, like a bird. Bird or fowl? I think it's fowl. Where's the bird? I think it's bird. Bird is, I'm pretty sure, the kind. I don't know if it's bird or fowl. But there's different species of bird. There is finches. There is crows. There is poultry, which is turkeys, chickens, ducks. Airfowl, waterfowl, different types of fowl. Those are the different types of species of bird. Like I said to him, this is, canine, or feline, marsupial, trees, grass. The fish types are all of those are types of kind. Like, I named canine. Canine is a kind. Feline. Felines are cats. But there's multiple types of cats, like I said. There is tigers, lions, uh, po- uh, not polar bears, what the heck am I thinking? There is house cats, there is wild cats, there is bobcats, there's ocelots. Those are all different species. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's all different species because there's different types of panthers, there's different types of tigers. There's the Bengal tiger, there's the African Savannah tiger, there's the white tiger. See, there's different types, or orders. There's different orders within species. There's kind, species, and I'm pretty sure it's order. And that the order is the different types of the animal within the species. So, like house cats, there's tabby cats, I forgot what the black cats are called. But, there's tabby cats, black cats, and a few other types of cats. I did not do too much research into the orders of the cats and species. But the feline is a kind. Marsupial, like kangaroos. I'm pretty sure that's yeah. They're marsupials. There's different types, different types of marsupials and stuff like that. Trees. There's multiple different types of trees. Oak, birch, English pines, regular pines, walnut trees, English tree, fruit trees. All those are species of trees. There are kinds. Grasses, crabgrass. There's a whole bunch of different types of crabgrasses. There's a whole types of different types of leafy grass. There's a whole bunch of different types of stem grass. And yeah, fish. There's different types of fish. Sharks, minnows, tilapia, salmon, catfish. All those different types of fish. Well, those are different types of kinds. There's the answer to his questions. Next question he has. I'm pretty sure this is the next one, anyways. Christian News and Facts channel. We know that the Earth is millions of years old because of radiometric dating. Now, I'm pretty sure it's not right after. Where is it? But this guy asked me, started saying that the world was millions of years old. And I said, well, the world is not millions of years old. We know this. If you believe that it is, tell me why. And he answered me with, we know that the Earth is billions of years old because of radiometric dating. Please define a kind. Now, this was, I would say, a few days in the future from this slide right here. When I answered him what a kind was, he still didn't know. I'm pretty sure I followed up on it, and I told him what a kind was again. This guy was stubborn, and apparently he didn't like to read my things, but I read every single one of his. Apparently, he still does not know what a kind is at this point. And he did catch on a little bit, but he was still ignorant to his beliefs. But he believes that the world. Well, what did I do? He believes that the world is millions of years old because of radiometric dating. Please define what kind is. Why are the trillions of species of bacteria one kind? And the credibility small amount of cats one kind. Now, this is where he starts catching up to the kind. I already told him what the kind was, and he's asking me why is all the trillions of species of bacteria one kind and all the small amount of cats one kind. Evolution is not instantaneous, that's what he said. It takes time. Of course, you aren't you aren't going to see a lot of differences between father and son, but over the time span of millions of years, small changes add up. Believing in micro but not macro evolution is like believing that years can't exist because a day is only 24 hours long. This is ridiculous. This guy is, I swear, he's off his rocker. He's 2/4 short of $1. He is a quack, okay? Coming up here, I'm not trying to insult him too much, but look at this. I answered his question here, but I'm going to start talking about is, on how his, the macro of the bacteria and the cats. He starts saying, why is there so much species of bacteria and not as much species of cats? Well, the amount of offspring has to do with this. Offspring, like bacteria, splits every 20 minutes, and that's, I think, on average. So if bacteria splits every 20 minutes, you know how many bacteria is out there? Millions of them. And you know how much danger they go through? A whole bunch. Well, bacteria keeps giving off offspring really fast, and they also go through a lot more traumatic events through their lives, bacteria, than we do. They got other bacterias attacking them. They got viruses attacking them. They got immune systems attacking them. They got cold weather, hot weather. They're more susceptible to these things. So what do they have to do? They have to adapt. And since they are fast, reproducers, they're actually able to make much more changes in shorter amounts of time. Unlike cats and dogs, and humans, we do not need to make that much changes. I can go over to Africa, and it will be harder for me because of my body type. I am American. I am a white Mexican and Native American mix, but I'm not used to Africa's climates. I will start to adapt to the Africa climates, which is microevolution, which really only takes a few months, up to a few years, to start to adapt to Africa's environments. But since I'm a human, I can go over there even if I'm pale, and I can still live. I might get skin cancer because of getting so much sunburn, but if I pack all the right necessary tools I need, I do not need to worry. Bacteria aren't like us. Bacteria, if they go into some cold climate, they die instantaneously. But us humans, we can handle below freezing temperatures, and all we need to do is put on some clothes and then we're fine. But we do adapt to the colds and to the heat. Just like chickens and all that. We actually do change our metabolism. What is metabolism? Well, metabolism is what burns fat. We change our metabolism, so in the winter we actually start hoarding fat. We start hoarding fat as an insulator to keep the cold air out and the hot air in us. We also know how to, like I said, put on clothes. So we can put on clothes while bacteria cannot put on clothes. So bacteria had to adapt a change, like they go dormant. So bacteria can go dormant when they get real cold. Some types anyways. Some bacteria can take high temperatures of heat. Some bacteria cannot take high temperatures of heat. Some bacteria need high temperatures of heat. See, it's the adaptations. It's because of how easy they're able to be killed, how fast they give birth, determines on how fast you adapt. And like I said, chickens, humans, and all we have the ability to handle more situations, so we do not need to adapt as much as bacteria. Same thing with cats. They don't need to adapt as much as us. They can adapt to be bigger cats and smaller cats, but they don't need to glow, okay? The cats don't need to glow, okay? Unlike certain types of fish and certain types of bacteria. They glow and all that to attract other animals, or they glow so they can see. But since we live on top of water and we do not live in really, really dark climates, we do not have to worry about that. Hopefully that made sense to you. Now, it might not make sense to you, but hopefully it wasn't just a lot of gibberish to you. But the basic line is, bacteria are in more danger. We shoot them with killers and all that, so they have to adapt. If they do not adapt, then they are more susceptible to dying, and they won't be able to finish their job of decomposing other bacteria and other foods, and they wouldn't be able to decompose things that are dying and decomposing. So they have to adapt to their situations. So he starts, like I said, talking about bacteria. He comes all the way down here. And then he starts talking about the father and son. The father and son are going to have many, many, many changes over time. But, like I said, this is not macroevolution. There's still going to be a human. So, all the way down here, he says that today you do not believe that a year exists because a day is 24 hours long. This is ridiculous and laughable, and honestly shows that you and your research are incredibly biased. Hold on a second. You're saying, he's putting words in my mouth. He's saying that I believe that years don't exist because the world is 24 hours. That's what I'm getting. Because it is ridiculous and laughable. Honestly, shows that that your research is incredibly biased. Well, first of all, that is not exactly what he's saying. I know that he is not saying that I believe that there is no such thing as years, because I didn't say that. But he's saying it's exactly like it, and that I am biased. Yes and no, I said to myself. I am biased a little bit, but I read what you have to say, and I already did my research, and I am saying what the textbooks say and how actual science compares to it, and that you're wrong and I am right, okay? He says that it's laughable and all that. I said, you're an idiot. That's what I said. You are an dummy. All the way down here. It's incredibly biased, except for that is totally possible. For an ape, BTW, we did not actually evolve from apes. We have a common ancestor to become a human. Well, geez, George, that common ancestor was a human. He believes macroevolution is real. I do not, I'm pretty sure he believes that we did come from apes. Some type of ape figure. But we didn't. We came from a human. Then he says, it is estimated that the time between the start of Homo genius and today is about 7 million years. Well, let's say what I have to say about that. Radiometric dating does not work for many reasons. Carbon dating also does not work, for both are based off of the geologic column, which is based off of circular reasoning. I forgot the other F and F off. But are both based off of circular reasoning. Excuse my spelling. But the geologic column dates the fossils by the rocks and the rocks by the fossils. Oh crap! I've just reading it now. I'm realizing how crappy my spelling is. But anyways, but the fossils, by the fossils. So they date the rocks by the fossils and the fossils by the rocks. So they cannot know how old the world is because the geologic column does not exist in real life. Only in textbooks. Even if it weren't, they do not know how old the Earth is. Radiometric dating would not have been erected if the geologic column did not exist. And there is much wrong with how they date stuff. I'm going to use carbon dating for the example, but carbon dating works by comparing carbon-14 in the bones and carbon-14 in the air. I'll explain how carbon-14 is separate from this example. I'll be able to go into more depth now. Carbon-14 is in the atmosphere. It is an extremely unstable element. It is a radioactive decaying element. They think that they're actually able to tell how fast it is decaying. They say that a half-life of carbon-14 is 5,000 and some odd years. That is a half-life. But there's a problem with that. The problem is that is not scientific. I zoned out for a second. That's why I paused. But that is not scientific. The reason why it is wrong is because it's not scientific. That's one problem. So you do not see that happening. You do not know how long until the half-life is. So that is unscientific. Another thing is wrong with it is, I should actually explain this more. Like I said, carbon-14 is a radioactive decaying element. They think that they're actually able to measure the decomposing element, which prime elements or parent elements, like carbon-14, which is a parent element, will decompose or turn into carbon-12, which carbon-12 is the daughter element of carbon-14, which is the parent element. So, explaining this, if you have a bone and half of the bone is carbon-12, and half of the bone has, out of the carbon-12 and out of the carbon-14, comparing to the atmosphere and to the bone, they can tell that they think they can tell the age of the bone by its half-life. But there is a problem. Like I said, one, that is not scientific. You do not know the half-life. Another reason is it's unscientific is because you do not know how much carbon-14 there was back then. If it is decomposing, then how much carbon-14 was there back then? You do not know. How much carbon-14 did that animal breathe in or that plant breathe in? See, we ingest carbon-14 and all that by breathing it in and eating it. Same thing with other animals or plants. That's how they're able to carbon date it. But like I said, it's extremely inaccurate. There is many cases to where it's wrong. Living penguins, carbon dated to be 4,000 years old. Living mollusk shells, being dated to be over a few million years old. Freshly killed seal, 1,300 years old. That's how much it was dated. But it was freshly killed, and we know that it was only like 23 years old. Okay, Mount St. Helens. When it erupted, we knew that the dirt was only about 30 years old. But it said that that it was millions of years old. Really, that was wrong. We knew it was false. It is totally impossible for the world to be millions of years old based off of carbon dating and or radiometric dating. Like I said, there is a basic problem. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's uranium-212 or uranium-238 that they use radiometric dating off of, or radioactive decay methods using uranium. Like I said, the problem is basically the same. You do not know how much uranium was back then. You do not know the decomposition rates. So that is unscientific. So therefore, you do not know how old the world is. Knowing that is, like I said, it is compared to the geologic column, which geologic column dates the fossils by the rocks and rocks by the fossils. This is extremely dumb. It makes no sense at all. Knowing that is, like I said, the geologic column does not exist other than the textbooks. You have many people argue that it does, but it doesn't. There's many examples of it, but I am running out of time, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. Whoa, 40 minutes already? I'm going to try to wrap this up, but if you guys want to do more, questions and answers, then we'll be doing it. But, like I said, there's the basic problems, and there's more complex problems. Like I said, misdating stuff. Saying stuff were millions of years old, but really we know that they're not. Saying stuff that is thousands of years old, but really is only a few years old. It doesn't make sense. See, carbon dating and uranium, radiometric dating both do not make sense. They both have problems. Like I said, carbon-14 does not work because they do not know how much carbon-14 there was back then, and they do not know the exact half-life of it, so they cannot measure it properly. And there and no why they can get accurate measurements. I misspelled that probably. And there is no why they can get. There is no way. That's what I'm gonna try. I meant to say no way. There is no way they can get proper, accurate readings, measurements. Same with radiometric dating. They do not know the exact half-life of uranium-238. Radiometric dating and carbon dating both have many problems. Like I said, another thing is, the Earth has not reached equilibrium with carbon-14. Carbon-14 is still being built up in the atmosphere. So therefore, all carbon-14 or carbon dating is impossible to get any type of good reading. There is a 98% error in the reading. You can carbon date something many times and get different answers, or you can radiometric date something and then carbon date something and then potassium argon date something, and it'll be all the difference. It'll be all different dates. And it just gets worse with all these datings. None of them are accurate. So nobody knows how old the world is. But there is evidence that says that the world cannot be over 10,000 years old. The world is physically incapable of being over 10,000 years old. That goes along with the biblical account of creation and the 6,000-year-old time span. That is all that I have for today. This is a very long video. I tried to make it short. That's the reason why I shortened this up. Imagine if I did all the videos that I had. It would have been over a couple hours. But anyways, hope you guys be good people. And subscribe. Turn on notifications. And I'll see you next time.